At 5:32 p.m. I'm calling to order the ACT Committee meeting, Administration, Communication, and Technology. My name is Brian Travis. I'm here with Brian McGinnis and Sheila DeCaro. Our first agenda item is announcements. I don't believe we have any announcements.
I do not.
We will move on to item number 2, comments, suggestions, petitions by residents in attendance regarding items not on the agenda. Any comments, suggestions? Okay, moving on to reports. I believe we have no scheduled reports tonight. So we are just moving straight through the agenda to old business. Approve the October 2024 meeting minutes. Did you have any comment, any?
No objections.
Great. Those are approved. Next item, discuss staffing during Westchester University special events that occur on weekends. This is a discussion item we've had for maybe two previous committee meetings. And I believe what we are waiting for is, first of all, I think the budget approval. So we would know what a staffing plan would look like, and then an official plan put in place. And Mr. Metrick, did you have something that you could share with us at this point on this item?
No, not anything drawn out yet, but we are going to identify some of those weekends where we want additional staff in parking, public works, and codes to do those functions, and who would do those functions and how we would pay for it. So we can have some more enforcement on those weekends. Some of the weekends we talked about were homecoming, move-in and move-out day for Westchester University, possibly spring break as well as St. Patrick's. We're gonna sit down with Don Edwards and figure out a schedule, have that planned out, and we can talk about that more next month.
Okay, great. We'll add it to the agenda for next month as well. Maybe we'll have something a little bit more fleshed out to look at. Next item is discuss amendments to rules and procedures of Borough Council. These are our rules and procedures, how we run meetings, how we set agendas. We've also discussed this before. One of the items that we needed to do was align ourselves with the General Assembly language around certain monetary items added to agendas. And I believe that's still in process, and we have a working draft, and we'll see a full draft at our next meeting as well. So we'll go ahead and table that right now. We don't have an attachment to discuss. Any comments?
No.
Anything from the public? Okay, the next item is to discuss this is the Trans-TACIS Transportation Advisory Committee. We put the ordinance in place last month, and there was not an issue, but a correction that we needed to make, or an amendment to that regarding the membership. And I believe it's up on the screen right now. So I believe what we needed to do is discuss. We had discussed and we had agreed to the membership to consist of 5 to 7 members, comprised of a mix of Westchester University and residents. One of the items that I think fell off this list was the liaison between 2 transportation committees. So the rail committee, we said we would have a liaison between the rail restoration committee, which is transportation. And the question that kept coming up, why aren't these 2 committees tied together, or why aren't they one reporting to the other? And we said for right now we want them to exist separately, but that we would have a liaison. And that did not make it into section 3 here. So we will need to add a letter for that.
Also the issue of majority borough residents on the TAC. Was that also an issue that came up last month?
Do you recall requirement of Westchester area? I don't know that we required borough residents, but that would make sense to add that specifically, some quota. I don't know what we would, we have 5 to 7 members. I don't know what the mix or the quota would be for membership for residents, because we wouldn't, I don't think we're excluding non-residents from this. Okay.
I think we could just do a majority requirement.
So we could do 3 to 4, if we're talking 5 to 7, so that would be a majority. Okay, let's just add that language in as well to this ordinance. All right. Anything else on the amendment?
Can I ask one question? And this may, I am speaking and thinking at the same time. Should the rail committee report to the transportation committee? And that's like, the transportation committee shouldn't be chasing after the rail committee. The rail committee should be reporting to and serving under the transportation committee in my mind of mapping that out.
What would be the issue of doing that now, since this ordinance, this committee has been, it's now in place?
I think it's cleaner to have your boards and commissions report to council. And except for the administrative boards and commissions, that's civil service and zoning hearing board, they're kind of independently functioning bodies with administrative powers. Everything else falls under a recommendation type kinds of committees, everything from planning commission to public arts commission and all of our tree commission. Those are all recommended bodies. And I think they should all report to borough council just to keep the lines correct, because you don't want the committees to get out of sync with borough council, right? There are creatures or entities created by borough council. And if you had like a middle person committee, there's a possibility that the committee reporting to the committee might get out of sync with council, and that wouldn't be good.
Yeah, that was the reason why we kept them separate. We were thinking through that the entire time, and that's why this liaison that we'll add in here makes more sense for right now.
I agree.
Okay. Any other questions? Any objections to adding those 2 pieces regarding the requirements for membership? Okay. So.
I do have one question. Is there a staff member requirement for this committee?
I like to designate a staff person for every committee, even though that's not in the ordinances. And there's not a member, there's not a ex officio member of the committee, like there is with the campus coalition. I forget which words that start with the letter C make that up. In that case, there's a ex officio position on that committee that's a staff member, but I do like to have discretion to assign whomever has the availability and ability to work with that group. And a lot of times it ends up being me. And so I will communicate with the chairperson, or it might be that person might report out to, in some cases, the council president. So I would prefer to have some discretion to assign the right part to assign that person to that role. But there isn't any committee that we've created, the council's created, that doesn't have somebody that they're supposed to be talking to on staff. And those staff people do reach out to those committee chairpersons every once in a while to connect.
Satisfy your question?
Yes.
Okay. Next item, new business. We don't have any new business items this month. And other business, we do have one item that came through, another council person that I'm going to just bring up real quick, and it's more of a question around the tax forms that were sent out. I believe they were sent out 9, 10, 11 months ago at this point. No, maybe not quite that long ago. But it came up in finance that there were some errors in the invoices for the tax bills. And the question is, have they been resolved, or is there still a resolution that is being worked out? I guess another question would be, who owns the issue if it still exists?
I'm not sure what issue you're talking about, but if there's an issue with the tax bills being sent to property owners, I can direct that through the finance director. We can get that resolved. Or are you talking more global issue with all tax forms?
No. This would be the tax. I think Barb addressed it before, and it came up in finance. Do you remember this?
You're questioning the new system in which we send out property taxes to residents, correct?
Correct. And there were some errors or some issues that were inherent with that new process.
Well, for sure, any new process is going to have a few hiccups here and there. We did, and we are correcting those for the next cycle that's coming up. One of the main things is having an ability to look up your property address because of the way the location information was imported to MuniBilling. MuniBilling is the platform we use to record payments for tax payments, and we've worked on that.
Now I'm actually recalling this coming up before we talked about it. But that issue is still happening, or it hasn't been corrected yet?
Yeah, we have worked through that issue.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when do we think it'll be resolved?
It is resolved, and then the next rounds of tax payments, it's going to be easier to find your account on MuniBilling to pay taxes.
Okay. Maybe I don't understand the issue entirely, and I don't have firsthand information. This came up through another council member. So let me we'll accept that as an answer for now. But I want to follow up with
No problem.
with who this was and have a little bit more specifics and how many issues they're based on.
I think we could probably add this on other business to the finance committee meeting tomorrow.
Barb will be here to talk about it.
Correct.
All right, that sounds good. Any other business? Mr. Flynn?
I came just at the right time. Good evening, Mr. Travis. Good evening, committee. The 2023 tax forms for the borough retirees had an issue because some of the calculations were incorrect. The process originates from the HR department, not the finance department. And the director was not forthcoming with the corrections.
Interrupt. So again,
This is a different issue than the
you're talking about
property.
the retirees.
Yeah, the
receiving-
1099-R.
Correct.
They have not been corrected yet for the non-uniform employees.
This is a different issue than I thought.
Correct.
I thought this was the change in the process that we made for property tax.
No.
Totally different issue.
This is under other business, right?
Yeah,
Other business, right?
other business.
Yeah. All right,
On that item.
I'll start over. In 2023, the tax forms for the borough retirees had an issue because the calculations were incorrect. The process originates from the HR department, not the finance department. The director wasn't forthcoming with the corrections quick enough. This affected the uniform and non-uniform employees that are retired at the borough. It's called a 1099-R. It's a retirement form that we all get when you're retired. The police department didn't get the response that, that suited them. So they contacted the FOP. And their legal team got theirs corrected. So the uniform police got the corrected 1099Rs. Over the past weekend, I heard from two different retired members from our borough family. And to this date, the 9 uniform employees have not been told how the borough has a plan to correct their 1099s and their pays for going forward. So we're 11 months into this. The 9 uniform people have been requesting emails. I saw the emails over the weekend. I forgot to bring them tonight. I can bring them to tomorrow night. One was from AOL, and it was directed to the director of HR and to the borough manager, and no one is responding to correct the 1099s. Earlier tonight, I checked with the finance department to make sure that this was not a finance problem, and it is not. It is a documentation problem. And as we go into getting our new 1099s in a month or so, 2023 has not been corrected for our retirees. So I'm bringing that to your attention because it's part of administration, and administration and the HR department should have corrected this at least by June. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention.
Yeah, thank you. Was there a change in this process for why the 1099Rs would be?
Yeah, I'm happy to put together something for you, Mr. Flynn, that we've already addressed this issue. It was an issue of too many not too many payments, but 13 payments happening in a calendar year. And I'll put that information back together.
Thank you. It's not for my purpose.
Got you.
It's for the purpose of the retirees that don't know what's going on. The HR department and administration are silent. They have not responded in an email or a letter, but they had to respond to the police department because they took it a step further. We know that there was extra payments on extra payments, because we were told, but the retirees who have nothing to do with us anymore have not received anything as of this past weekend.
So I am familiar, Mr. Flynn, with the police. They received, and Sean, correct me if I'm wrong, 13 payments for last year. So the solution next year would be to receive 11. And I believe that was worked out, if I'm not mistaken. Now with the non-uniformed, I wasn't aware of that. Is that going to be the same solution? Because you can't correct a 1099R, unfortunately, because the distribution date was done in the previous year.
Correct.
We cannot go back. The IRS can't go back. So the only solution moving forward would be that they would receive 11 distributions the following year as opposed to 12. And I think it's because we switched systems and therefore they produced one extra distribution in December of last year.
I accept your explanation because it makes sense, but unfortunately, the people that are retired don't know what we're even talking about this evening because they have not received something
So we
on
need
the
to
letterhead.
somebody needs to communicate to
Yeah, to our retirees.
retirees.
Yeah, 'cause they're going to get
Or
one
not
less
here,
paycheck.
retirees.
And they're going to say, holy Christ, what's going on? You know, and it's amazing. I didn't think I would think this, but I actually look forward to the second Wednesday of every month because the Social Security check comes in, $3,500 is a nice check to get every second Wednesday of every month. And it'd be nice that the retirees know what's going on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
So we'll have somebody assigned to the issue and communicate out.
We'll put together in writing what happened and what's been resolved.
Thank you.
But this is an old issue.
Okay. First time I've heard it. So I think that's it for other business. We adjourned at 5:51.